And we're on.
Okay, ready? Welcome to America's Mayor Live in Rome, Italy. Over my shoulder, as you can see, and you'll see a lot more of it shortly, is the Vatican. And of course, all eyes are on the Vatican because of the illness of Pope Francis. Question as to how serious it is. It sounds like it's very, very serious. And of course, no one wants to anticipate his dying. We may have political disagreements with him, but he's a holy man and he holds a position that is, I guess, one of the oldest in the world, passed on from Jesus to St. Peter to S. Petrus. So if and when, well, if not if, when there's a new pope, you will hear that chanted in the Vatican, to S. Petrus. You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. Changed his name from Simon to Peter and made him the head of his church. And that's the office that the man that lives across there holds. And actually, he's in the hospital right now. So we'll keep you updated on that as we move from here to Serbia, which is where we'll be tomorrow, and then back here, and keep you up to date on what's going on here in Europe and talk to some people here with their views. But let's just talk a little bit about the United States so that I can give you some of the views that you don't get from all of the corporate media that unfortunately leaves out about half of what's going on. The president and J.D. Vance have actually laid out a very, very powerful and strong foreign policy. And the foreign policy is really designed to put us in a position so that we can challenge China. Now, that's going to involve our increasing our military. Absolutely. We have to overcome the terrible problems that Biden caused for us, like China having a bigger navy than the United States. We're going to have to overcome their challenging us on AI and on quantum computer technology and all of the things that are absolutely as necessary as military spending. This is a two-track situation. You can be the dominant military power in the world, and if the other guy is the dominant AI and quantum computer and computer nation in the world, they can undercut you. So you need both in order to protect yourself. And I think you see Trump moving in both areas and moving very, very quickly in both areas, which is very, very encouraging to those of us who are afraid that we were falling behind. But also important to that is that we have really strong allies. Look what Israel has been able to do. Really, almost with the opposition of the United States. Remember, from the day that they were attacked on October 7th, after a few required statements by Biden and cackling Kamala, basically that administration tried to stop Netanyahu from everything he did. From the very, very beginning, he was told, let's have a ceasefire. Let's have a ceasefire. Let's have a ceasefire. Ceasefire, 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 ceasefire. They wanted a ceasefire before he fired. Well, he had the troops lined up on the border to go in to Gaza and end it. He was being held back by Biden. When he wanted to go south into the rest of Gaza to eliminate them, he was opposed by. When he wanted to go into Khan Yunis, he was opposed by Biden. And when he wanted to go into Rafah, which is right on the Egyptian border, Kamala Harris said 100,000 people will die. It was more like 9. And it was absolutely necessary to do it because you had to expose all of those tunnels. If you're ever going to make Gaza a place that isn't an absolute death threat, to the Israelis, to the Jews, and to everybody else. So Netanyahu was able to do that without the United States, one, and with the opposition of the United States. I was going to say undercover opposition. Wasn't so undercover of the United States. Same thing in the north. Whoever thought when that all started that Hezbollah would be destroyed? Hezbollah was Iran's biggest proxy. It's the one they relied on the most. It's the one they frightened people with the most. Israel even wasn't sure it could take them on. And finally, they just had enough. There was too much bombing every day. 100,000 people displaced. People in the north of Israel feeling that they were being disregarded. And then all of a sudden, the IDF said, okay, let's try it. And within weeks, all of a sudden, Hezbollah retreats and runs back to somewhere. And there goes the number one proxy for Iran. So Iran now is pretty much exposed. Its two proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah, are on the run. The Houthis could be put out quickly and should be by us, not Israel, since they've destroyed American shipping. They've killed American sailors. But, you know, with Biden, we never did that. I'm sure that's going to change. And now with the latest return of hostages, which is inhumane, indecent, animalistic, it shows that they're not really human beings. The two children that died, where they played cat and mouse about whether the children were alive or dead, and the mother, the Bibas family. I mean, the reality is that turns out those children were choked. Now, you tell me who or what could choke a 10-month-old child and a 4-year-old child? Who could do that? And why do we have American students protesting in their favor? Exactly why? What is it? Well, it's probably several different reasons, all of which are of great concern to us. One reason may be that they are anti-American and pro-Islamic extremist. There were times in which you might say Obama looked like he was, particularly when he was sending cash to the Ayatollah, like 100 million in cash, who was giving it to terrorists. So, you can't fool me. You don't send cash to, well, I hope we don't send cash to Ukraine. I know what happened to that cash in Zelensky's hand. You send cash because they're giving it to terrorists. And we let Obama walk around like he's an innocent man.
I'm playing some B-roll of the kids' coffins that Hamas posted.
Yeah, isn't that terrible? And then they mock them when they leave. They mock them and they make them say things that aren't true, or they come out looking like they were going through something administered by Hitler and Goebbels. And then it turns out they said the children were bombed. There's no evidence at all that the children were bombed, and there's very, very strong evidence they were choked to death. And the Israelis have released that information publicly to be looked at by independent medical examiners, all of whom have said, yeah, that's right. And meanwhile, a good deal of Western Europe is having a hard time supporting Israel and is back and forth about Hamas. And they want a two-state solution. We're going to have people who choke babies in the state next to Israel. This guy right here has been against a two-state solution the day it came out of the mouth of either Jim Baker or Bill Clinton. I can't remember which one said it first. I thought it was the craziest, most insane, most idiotic thing I'd ever heard. How do you put next to one country, a country that is committed to destroy the other country, committed by politics, committed by religion, and committed by a couple of thousand years of anti-Jewish prejudice. Palestinians want to destroy all of the Jewish people. They are taught that from the time they go to school. They're taught that with material given to them by the UN, which we pay for. All ending. And wow, you see them crying? Everyone that you see opposing doing away with waste, fraud, and abuse is a waster, a fraudster, and an abuser. Otherwise, you wouldn't be opposing it. Who the hell would oppose it? I mean, who would oppose giving a country 50? I think it was $50 billion for condoms. How do you buy $50 billion worth of condoms? Oh, million. Well, how do you buy 50 million? So you know what that was? That wasn't $50 million for condoms. That was a whack up of money. That was a way of creating a conduit of money that went in the hands of politicians and the companies and the people who are very tied into the Democratic Party. When we look at the excessive spending here, and it's going to be way beyond what you think. Waste, some. Abuse, some. Fraud, most of it. And that's why they're fighting so hard, because their gravy train is being taken away. Their ability to steal your money is being jeopardized. And they've been doing it since we created the independent state. There's absolutely no basis in the Constitution for these independent agencies. No such thing as an independent agency. You've got three branches of government, and everything our government does falls under one of those three branches. Legislature, Section 1. Executive, Section 2. Judiciary, Section 3. So, what's the FCC? An independent agency. Where in the Constitution is there any authority for creating an independent agency? It's got to be in one of those branches of government. Well, it can't be in the judiciary, I wouldn't think. It would make no sense to have it in the legislature.
Well, they have judges in those independent agencies, ALJs, and
yeah,
you know,
it's
they almost become their own.
Well, I mean,
operating
when you think about
body.
it, the court already has cut half of it out by doing away with the Chevron deference. A lot of people, looked at the Roe against Wade opinion and a couple of those, of course, very significant. But the Chevron deference decision was probably one of the most significant. Chevron deference basically made them totally independent, both in terms of being able to remove the people there, so they had no executive direction.
Do you want to briefly explain Chevron deference?
Chevron deference means if an administrative agency like the FCC makes a decision, the court has to basically agree with it unless it is grossly incorrect.
Unless they're directly contradicting the statute almost.
Directly contradicting the statute, making some terrible mistakes of fact or law, if there's any basis for the decision at all.
So these vague statutes that Congress passes are almost, they're given carte blanche to these agencies.
The agencies just expand and expand and expand and expand. And the communications in the United States are governed by unelected, unaccountable, faceless bureaucrats.
Oh, yeah. We saw during the Obama administration, it was absolutely absurd. Google basically owned the FCC because they helped Obama so much. He basically said, you guys have free reign here.
So that's what they're battling. So understand the need for it. It is absolutely vital. Israel, the last 4 or 5 days have really indicated that I guess you got to play out this agreement so that they return the remaining hostages, or see if they are going to return the remaining hostages. But is there anybody who really thinks that you can have a two-state solution? after they choked the baby, sent the wrong woman, mocked the people who died, have made it clear that as soon as they get a chance, they're going to go back to trying to eliminate the Jewish people again. I really think we're just marking time right now for Trump to allow Bibi, or for Trump himself to participate in the complete elimination of Hamas, so that we never have to deal with them, hear about them, or they can never choke little babies again. And if I can predict the president's conduct without having asked him and talked to him about it, by looking at his eyes, I think I saw that. I really do. Congestion pricing, I think I also saw that. Governor Holcomb can go pound sand. She went to see him on Friday, and she asked that he back off congestion pricing. He just looked at her and said, no. It's like he did with the Maine governor. The Maine governor.
That was bold.
The Maine governor likes the idea of men being in women's sports. So the president said, well, you're not going to get any funding.
Was that right to her face? He said
right
that?
To her face.
Oh,
right to
phenomenal.
Her face. We're not going to give him any funding.
Well, and then back to New York. We were just in Manhattan, and man, is it expensive to get an Uber.
That's because of congestion pricing.
They have to pay the $9 or whatever.
New Jersey, Connecticut, the suburbs. They're trying to kill the Republican parts of the New York metropolitan area. It is so obvious. First of all, there is no state, no city in this country that has congestion pricing but communist New York. Number two, it is directed toward Republicans. It's directed toward the commuters.
Hey, how
about this? Here's the success of it. There's much less traffic. Well, you know something, Hochul? You could get to the point there'd be no traffic. Wouldn't that be great, Hochul, if there was no traffic? Jackass!
Hey,
Idiot,
we're in Rome right now.
Moron!
We're in Rome right now. How do you think the people of Italy would react to maybe congestion pricing in Rome? I bet we'd have riots.
I think under Giorgia Meloni, Italy has more common sense to do something like that. Just like it has enough common sense under President Trump to do away with it. New York is losing enough people. It's in a race with New Jersey and California as to who loses more. I mean, I moved to Florida a year ago, and the reality is I see more people from New York there than I do in New York, if that's possible.
Well, see, with California, though, they just had the fires, so they're going to be moving out of there.
California used to move all to Texas. They're beginning to move to Florida now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the reality is that this is this is like just adding flames to the fire and just burning the city down more. It would be like if Nero, instead of just fiddling, ran out and started burning Rome. Maybe he did. Nero was nuts. He was kind of like Biden.
Yeah.
The pervert and the criminal and thief, sick.
So I definitely want to bring Dr. Maria on here. We're in Italy, and she knows.
We're going to take a short break, and we're going to bring on Dr. Maria. And you should know, I just want to say, it's getting cold in Rome.
Well, compared to Palm Beach, it's a beautiful spring day for someone from Michigan.
And the view, I hope you're showing them the view.
The
view is getting better. It's getting clearer. You can see the Vatican. You can see the Quirinal. You can see the Colosseum now. You can actually see the Colosseum. Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. He's going to love the song. He's also going to love you.
Hey, we're back.
We're back, Rudolph.
We're back. This is Rudy Giuliani, and this is America's Mayor live from the country of his grandparents, Italy, my grandparents, and Dr. Maria's.
One side of my grandparents. Yes, yours are from represent a lot of different areas.
And yours,
Mine are both my grandmother, grandfather from Grottamanarda, which is near Sorrento.
My maternal grandmother's family is from Gesualdo, which is 20 miles from Grottamanarda.
Yeah.
How's that? We meet in the United States, and our families 100 years ago were 20 miles apart.
And we're getting some heat added to the set.
We have a opera singer and the world's best bodyguard making sure we are hot.
Not just an opera singer, one of the really best.
Yes, he was serenading me.
We got a song for the end that President Trump is going to love. And you should know President Trump likes opera.
He definitely does.
So, Maria, how does it feel to be in?
You know, I love it's like my second home.
Two generation homeland.
Yeah, it's like my mother was a first-time American, and there is something about DNA, right? Whenever I come back to Italy, I feel like it's home.
I feel like you're relative.
Yeah.
Everybody here.
Even though I'm an American, don't take me wrong. I'm an American through and through. I bleed red, white, and blue, and I love my country. I feel very comfortable here. Yeah. In World War II.
Yeah. I had a cousin who lost his leg in Italy.
And we had tons of Italian Americans fighting against Italy.
My grandfather sent his sons off to war against Italy, and he told his paisans, or Americans now, if you don't like it, go back to Italy.
Yeah.
We came here for a reason, jackasses. So,
well, I heard you bring up the Pope, and all reports are that he is very, very ill. Bilateral pneumonia.
Ooh.
Early this morning, he had some kind of, it means both sides.
Oh,
you actually had it as your doctor, Rudolph. Both? You had bilateral. Now you had viral pneumonia from COVID. Yeah, and it was your lungs, your x-ray was totally whited out. You were pretty sick, but you turned around very quickly.
I'm an animal.
Yes. But Pope Francis has a lot of medical problems, and I wish everybody well. I know from sources that they are preparing for the worst. So.
Do you think they actually? I mean, it's a hell of an endeavor, because it's almost, they have like a very short period of time to bring in. I don't know how many cardinals they have. Over 100.
Yes.
Cardinals from all over the world.
Yeah.
They're all going to get rooms. They're all going to be in the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah.
It's all got to be put together like it's a 10 or 20 day or 30 day thing.
Yeah.
And
hey, wouldn't it be nice to have an American Pope like Cardinal Dolan? Cardinal Dolan.
We better not do that. Oh, if we start campaigning.
There's a fire behind us all of a sudden.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Cardinal Dolan.
So we're here on business, but you know what?
Seriously.
The Rudy Giuliani Show, America's Mayor Live, and the Dr. Maria Show will never abandon you. Wherever we have to go for business, we're going to bring it to you. And we have some fantastic interviews coming up in the next few shows.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to interview the president of Serbia, and we're going to interview several. We already have on the earlier show. I interviewed one of the people who formed Berlusconi's party,
yes,
which was the beginning of the conservative movement in Italy. That led ultimately to Giorgia Meloni now. Do you realize she's been in office over 2 years? Doesn't seem that long.
It doesn't seem that long. And I remember when she was running and she would be in Italy, you were in America, and you would be at I would say a small rally, not a rally like President Trump's, but you would be on a big screen in Italy and you would hear the crowd scream. But you were a supporter from the beginning of Miss Maloney.
Yeah,
and
thank God.
Blessed be we get to talk with her shortly.
Yeah, and a very, 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 very strong and important ally for President Trump, because you can see Europe. I think Vance and Trump are going to turn Europe. How do you like that?
Well, Europe, and depending on,
they're going to turn Europe. And can you imagine if we have Europe? We have Eastern Europe already.
Yeah.
You got to make a distinction.
They love the whole Poland, America first.
Poland, all of those countries.
Hungary, they're with us. Serbia are with us. Now, what's happened with, and I hate to blame it on one person, but Germany, very strong country, nationalists, atoned, I believe, for their sins. But Angela Merkel just destroyed that very productive country. They always had a financial surplus, and they treated their workers well. I know, I did undergraduate work in a hospital in Germany, and there's only 12 months of a year. The workers would get 13 months of pay. If you were out on maternity leave, you got really extended time off paid. Every 3 years, you got to go to a spa for 30 days because, at least at that time in the 90s, because a healthy worker is a productive worker. So they were reinvesting their surplus money within the people. Now, so much of their money have gone to, hey, illegal aliens. Crime rate has skyrocketed. Poor Sweden. They say those girls who are very different for these Middle Eastern Syrian people being blonde, the rape statistics will make you want to vomit.
I mean, it's really terrible. It's really terrible what's gone on. It's here in Italy, but not as bad. I don't think it ever was as bad. And then, of course, Georgia has been in charge now for 2.5 years and made a difference.
Yeah.
But
they get a lot coming up from Africa, Libya.
They cut a lot of it off.
Yeah, they're cutting a lot of it off. Gypsies have always been a problem in most of the European cities. Pickpockets.
But
Roma.
Yeah.
But the problems in Germany, France, and the UK or in Great Britain are really almost to the point where they could break the country.
Yeah, it's bad, right? In UK, the violence is crazy. They're taking over. You know what the number one name is? Oh, you're freezing, Mayor Giuliani.
Somebody's got to take care of that Islamic extremist mayor in London.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is a real danger to Western civilization.
Do you know the most popular name now of newborn babies in England? Guess.
Donald?
Mohammed.
Oh, no!
Yeah. Mohammed. And now UK is kind of trying to push some of them out. Where are they trying to push them into? Ireland.
But just think how ignorant these people are who do that. Muhammad was a mass murderer.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not making that up.
Yeah.
That's the Quran.
Yep.
Mass murderer. Particularly of Jews. But also of Christians. Infidels.
Yeah.
2 Muhammads. The good Muhammad, when he was trying to convince everybody to become part of his religion after Gabriel took him up to heaven. And then when they all tossed him out, the Arabs, the Jews, and the Christians went in the desert, rounded up the ignorant, and they came in with armies. And one of the first things they would do is kill a lot of people in the village to get their attention.
Yeah.
Mass graves.
All I can say is to the people of Europe.
This is hardly the basis for the leadership of a religion, unless you start interpreting that religion in a very, very different way and cut out the old practices. But the old practices here are not like some of the things in Judaism, stoning or Moses wasn't a murderer. Jesus was furthest thing from a murderer. this guy was a murderer.
Mm.
So when you see the murder so much, it's not just by chance. So somebody's got to stand up to this, and we see what happens to the ones that do, the poor women that do.
Yeah.
And Salman Rushdie, and
look at the 14-year-old in Iran who, you know.
And of course, the press doesn't have any courage at all, or intellectual honesty, or willingness to tell history effectively and correctly. Instead, they want to go after Columbus. We don't even know what Columbus did. We know what Muhammad did. We don't know what Columbus did.
You know, Rudy, you say that, and it's factual. But the American people are watching shows that they're getting the information. They're watching the Rudy Giuliani show on LindellTV.com. They're watching America's Mayor Live on Newsmax 2 and X. They're watching the Dr. Maria show. They're watching The War Room on LindellTV.com. They're getting information. And we kind of knew that. We saw that because of the polling. People absolutely knew January 6th was a setup, a total setup. And there's other factual things that finally got to the American public, despite the radical left paying USAID money to have magazines, newspapers in their pocket. How about $8 million to Politico? I'll never read that. Not that I read it in the first place, but you can be bought. Isn't there something about journalistic integrity? Right. There's
You and I have it.
there's like a
and all the
handful of
people you mentioned
investigative
have-
journalists that I know of. John Solomon, Cara Castronova, the people at Gateway Pundit, people at
Taibbi?
Just the News, Matt Taibbi. Like, this should be more prevalent in a country like America that wants to seek the truth. And
But
you
they're
know what?
growing. They're growing.
You know what, Rudy? If we find dirt, and we will, because we're not a perfect nation, what we should be doing is saying, yes, X happened, like the 2020 election. It happened. Let's find out why, who was behind it. Was it collaboration amongst the White House, amongst other individuals, and put things in place so it never happens again? To have that perfect union, to have that election integrity. We shouldn't be running from our problems. I've never been afraid to, as a leader, to say when I've made a mistake, as long as I put things in place so it never happens again.
It's part of leadership. You are going to make mistakes, and you learn from them. If you have confidence and you have confidence in yourself. Well, we'll be back very shortly, and we got a couple of surprises for you.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. Sean is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please.
Perfect.
We can't yell as loud as Victoria, but we'll yell.
Stephen, just give me a wave. I'll send them out.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, just give me a wave.
You're back.
This is Rudy Giuliani back with America's Mayor live in the Eternal City, the city of Rome, the city that is the center of maybe the longest reigning empire in world history, who left behind a treasure trove of Greek and Roman philosophy, laws, science, a good deal of it borrowed and borrowed from the Greeks, which Romans very much acknowledged. The connection between Italians and Greeks is very, very strong. In fact, I feel bad that Dr. Maria's not here, but she has a very, very close friend. I'll put her on sometime. Very, very fine woman, very accomplished woman who comes from an old Greek family. So she went into one of those genetic searches. It turns out she's 47% Italian. Happens all the time. Italians end up being 20% Greek, 30% Greek. Very close connection. And so, I studied classical history because I got a traditional education in Western civilization and also studying to be a priest. I spent a lot of time learning Latin and Greek. So I know a lot about classical history, art. The contributions are invaluable. Impossible to really spend time going over all of them. But and this civilization is a great civilization. And it's a civilization that we've cast aside to the detriment of the world, because this is a civilization that made human life so important. This is a civilization where even the whole concept of, remember, teaching the humanities, that comes out of Western civilization. So that's what's at stake here. And the one worlders and the Chinese communists want to take it away from us. They want to take all civilization away. They want to take away Chinese culture and civilization. That's the purpose of the communists. The Chinese communists are not loyal Chinese. They're loyal communists. You know who's written about that? Putin. And so if you want to really understand what Putin wants to do, and I'm not saying this is good, this is almost as bad. Putin wants to really recreate the Russian Empire, not the Soviet Union, because he's a Russian nationalist. And he wants to do it in ways that are barbaric and wrong. But you got to understand your adversary. You can't over or underestimate him. So Ukraine, where's it going? Well, looks like little Zelensky has now agreed that he's going to make available $500 billion in rare resources. What that really means is, and why does Trump want this? Trump wants it because he really needs all these countries to participate in the effort against China. Can we go it alone? Yeah, I think we can do anything. But the reality is, are we taking too much of a risk by going it alone? Of course we are. We're taking a risk with the freedom and and existence of the earth. So the more we can get Europe to become extremely prepared for not only their own defense, but the defense of Western civilization, which we share with them, the more we have of them being allies to us, let's say at the level at which Israel is. Imagine if they were all like Israel. This China thing would be like much easier to deal with. And some of them are like Israel. Where I am right now under Giorgia Meloni, couldn't have a better ally. How about Poland? How about Lithuania? How about all the Eastern European countries? My goodness, I mean, maybe there's one or two that I'm not thinking of that are not 100%. If they aren't, one of them, 80. Compared to France and Germany, and particularly Germany and England, which are trashing free speech. England putting a guy in jail for thought crime. Germany putting an old man in jail because he was sitting near an abortion place. I don't think even saying anything, just protesting. You can't have your own viewpoint on abortion and make it known. Well, I mean, are people going for abortion so delicate that they can't hear the other side? I've never known what was wrong with requiring them to have to read some literature about the possibility of adoption. Shouldn't you want to save human life, including potential human life? Hopefully all these questions and more are now going to enter into the debate so that we once again restore humanity to civilization. We'll be back very shortly, and we have two very, very interesting guests as soon as we come back.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Yep, we're back.
Welcome back to America's Mayor Live, and for you, this will be the first time in this audience that we see Andrea Ruggieri, who was a very important member of Forza Italia. Forza Italia was the political party established by Berlusconi, which I guess you could say, and he can explain it better than I can, but was the beginning of introducing a real conservative movement.
Yeah.
In Italy, that really is pretty much the same set of views that our conservative movement has had for 20, 30 years. You know, smaller government, low taxes, business friendly, strong national defense, strong respect for your nation. And for Western civilization.
And for Western civilization. Yeah, you're totally right,
He was
Mr.
one of the
Mayor.
few people that said the word Western civilization.
You're totally right. He has invented all the political area we're talking about, and the conservative political thinking we have now actually at the government in Italy.
And now we have Giorgia Meloni.
Giorgia Meloni,
who shouldn't even say a great start. I mean, she's been there a while now. She's really solidified herself.
Yeah, she's a good leader. She's our prime minister. She has clear ideas, and she's almost conservative enough for making Italy great again.
Well, I think she'll be helped, and to some extent, even President Trump will be helped because you need allies. My goodness, you do. The way Reagan and Thatcher helped each other, and then I think there are a couple more out there that can be pulled together.
Well, I think Giorgia Meloni could be the ideal partner that President Trump needs to have also in Europe. You know, Europe is quite divided, and you need a partner to talk with. So Giorgia Meloni, for me, is the ideal partner President Trump could count on in Europe.
Well, now, let me get you off the subject for a moment. What's going on with the Pope?
With the Pope, well, we're all praying about him because is very, very sick. He's old and sick. We wait and see because he is almost 90. Is very sick, and these are crucial hours for his life. So, if you're a Catholic, you can pray, but that's the only thing we can do because it's crucial time for him.
So, if the Pope is in a situation like this, and of course it's very delicate, but would they be preparing just in case because it happened so fast?
Well, Mr. Mayor, we have a lot of rumors in Rome. Yeah. Rome is the city of Vatican City. A lot of people is booking hotel rooms, restaurant places. So something is moving up.
So you end up with, you end up with incredible media here when you have a.
When we have a conclave, as we say in Italy, Rome is the center of the Catholic world. What we're talking about, the Pope is old and sick now. Two options. One is the best, the worst one, he dies, and the second one is different, quite different, and he resigns. In both cases, you need to elect a new Pope.
Right.
And so it's a process we have to take in Rome, and that's why Rome is the capital of the Catholic world, entire world.
And I think it comes at a time in which the Catholic religion is debating within itself, and then and also the Catholic religion is all over the world. So all of the debates in the world end up in the Catholic religion also. So it's quite a delicate time to be selecting.
Very, very delicate, even for the west part of the world politicians, because I'm just wondering. But if you go to elect a progressist Pope, is one thing. If you go for electing a conservative one, is the opposite. So what we need for the next. Our common future. That's the real question that the conclave will answer to.
So, did you see the movie Conclave?
I saw it, but
I don't know. I wish Dr. Maria was here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you the end of the movie because I hate the movie. First of all, I thought the movie up until pretty much then was very good.
Yeah,
I think the acting was beyond superb.
Fantastic.
I mean, and to some extent, the accuracy of the way it takes place, pretty darn good, right?
And how is complicated. A conclave is complicated. It's very complicated.
Yeah. It takes some liberties, I guess. I've never been in a conclave. I'm not a cardinal. But from what I've read and seen, and
you have been Pope in your city.
Yeah, right. And I remember the movie with Anthony Quinn about the selection of a Pope. That was a pretty good.
Well, I don't remember the title.
Shoes the Fisherman.
But I should know the Italian name. I don't know.
Shoes the Fisherman. Get it. Watch it. Because it has a better ending than this one ends with they select this young guy out of nowhere that the Pope had secretly made this guy a cardinal. So they weren't even sure he was a cardinal. And I guess I don't know where he came from. One of the third world countries.
Anyway, you are in the right place, and the place to be now, because now is a crucial place about the news about a Pope. So Rome is Rome.
Is it possible for you to be born? I want to ask Stephen this too. Stephen, pay attention. Is it possible to be born and have ovaries as well as a penis?
Yes, I certainly think that
We're
God
gonna
creates
find
and
out.
all that kind of.
I never heard of that. Well, that's
Well, no. There are intersex people. It's a very, very
Well, what
rare
would you think?
condition, but it does
according
happen.
to the conclave. That's who they elected as pope.
Oh, you know what? You just ruined the movie for me.
I know on purpose.
Oh, son of a gun. But no, but those situations exist and God does create those people. But
Okay,
you know,
all
it's
right.
not something that we should, change our entire constitution over.
No, we shouldn't. And I just think it's so ridiculous. But I'm sure that movie. I'm not sure. I'm 70% sure it was funded by China. About 70% of the movies in Hollywood are funded.
Yeah, I was gonna say the bulk of them are.
And you can't imagine the stuff they do, even in the action movies where they have Chinese heroes and American devils, and it's terrible.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Brainwashing of the worst kind.
Brainwashing, yeah. The real keyword is brainwashing. We have to fight against this common danger we have that, in my opinion, is China.
Right.
So that's the real challenge we have to face up. So be strong, be united, and go on the west part of the world roots. That's the right one.
Now we have you heard this before, so this is going to be a real treat. So, Stephen, is this a good time for us to bring in Vittorio, or should we take another break first?
Perfect time.
Take a little break first?
Yeah, we can take a break.
Uh,
Do a short one.
We'll take a short break, and then we're going to bring in Vittorio, because this is something we're trying to. This is something I'm going to bring home as a gift to President Trump.
Yeah, Vittorio Grigolo is one of the best tenors we have entire
Trump
world.
Loves tenors. And he
really
loves this kind
it?
of music. He loves tenors, absolutely loves tenors, and he loves patriotic. Well, you just wait. See, we'll be right back. Special treat.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code Rudy. Act fast.
We're back.
Yours. Here we are. This is America's Mayor Live. With me is the great Italian tenor, Vittorio Gregorio. Great tenor. And he is singing. Here we have a rendition of Ave Maria, the great song.
Che solo tu sai donar. Ave Maria.
Reminds me of Caruso. He used to go out in the street and sing to everybody on the street while he was performing at the Metropolitan Opera. That's what made him so sort of like the Babe Ruth of opera. So Gregorio wrote a song that I know President Trump is going to love. He's going to love this song. So I want them to hear it. And tell us
But this was
when did you write it? And,
I wrote it.
And why?
I wrote it because there was a little fight in New York at the time when I wrote the song, and I actually anticipated to you. There was the fight that they want to remove, the statue of Columbus. So that was a big fight for me. I was performing at the Metropolitan Opera House at that time. Yes, I was doing a recital, and I was doing Romeo and Juliet at that time. And it's beautiful, Romeo and Juliet, the balcony, Ha lève toi soleil. It's wonderful. But at that time, looks to me strange that Columbus was, there was this kind of deal that they wanted to be the statue removed by the place, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, listen, I need to do something. because I feel part. I'm not an American citizen, yes, but my ancestral, my descendant, I know that I'm part of it. So I know that with their love, they help to build this country, this incredible country that I'm sure that it will be great again. And under President Trump, of course, the fact that the Columbus was taken out gave me a goosebump. I said, I need to do something. And I wrote this song.
You wrote it while you were in New York.
In New York.
Performing at the Met, and they were going after the statue.
Yes.
So this got you upset, and you wanted to write something.
Because
so this was in October or so.
Yes.
And so this is right near the end of the election.
Yes, right? Yes. This song is actually called America. Yeah, and it's used, it is actually, because what's the most beautiful words for an American citizen to feel is the most beautiful song is the anthem. Mm-hmm. So I used, and might, with the permission of President Trump, I might have the possibility to use those words, because you never know if you can use those words in a song. But I use part of the words in this song. So the land of the brave, the freedom, the country, so the love and the values for something that you believe in it and you want to be great. So this is what I wanted to do. And this song it's called America.
Shall we play it?
But I have to, the file is here. So it's really something live. We never
Can people get this song?
No, it's never been played. Well, so you are the first.
We got to get the song. Well, let's sing it. No, I wanted to sing it. Well, you will. Let's sing along with it.
Oh, say, oh, say, oh, say, oh, say, can't you see the land of the free and the brave? America, I want to live forever in America. The dream for Irish souls refills compassion, love, and joy. But we need to sing it all for President Trump. We cannot burn it all. Rudy. No. Feel no uncertainty, America. My home will be forever in America.
Beautiful.
We need to. Maybe we need to. Huh?
So I'm going to take that. Bring it to him, and let's see what he thinks of it. He loves to play. He loves the
tenor voice. You told me.
He loves the tenor voice. He loves
Elvis Presley.
He loves Elvis Presley. He loves patriotic songs. He loves arias, and he certainly loves patriotic songs. And this is a beautiful song, and it's so nice that you did it. And when you did it,
I did it because I felt it. You know, when you this is comes out.
No,
it comes out of your soul.
You know, it's something that Italian Americans
are bond
have been sort of ignored in terms of their sensitivities. And you know, the Italian Americans are the second most lynched people in the history of the country after blacks. It happened in the 19th century a lot, when they were thought of, you know, as dirty and who knows what.
Well, it's Sacco and Vanzetti. Everyone remembers that.
Yeah, but Sacco and Vanzetti were in the 20s. This actually happened like in New Orleans and places like that by the Klan. And so it's like they have, New York has a courthouse named for Boss Tweed, who was a 19th century crooked politician.
Crooked politician.
Completely crooked. In fact, he epitomizes American urban political corruption. We have a courthouse named for him. We're going to take down the Columbus statue? And the party that wants to take it around, the Democrat Party, was the party of slavery. It's the party that led the Civil War against the Union. It's the party that had segregation for 100 years. So they better get rid of that name too. I mean, it's absurd. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you.
And that song, I guarantee you it's going to be unbelievable. Well, this is one of the great talents, and it's just an honor for me.
It's been an honor for me to be
person who loves opera.
No, to be
I'll tell
with you. I have to say to all your fans and all your followers that are looking and watching this show for hours. You've been in this terrace. I have to say, it's not summer, guys. And Mayor Rudolph Giuliani is fighting. I am with the coat. He's fighting because he's showing his values. He's showing America. He's showing his colors. He's showing his love. And Mayor Giuliani is fighting against. He doesn't feel the cold.
It's so wonderful to see how vital,
vibrant
things are in Italy now. It's so wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Pray for the people of.
We all do.
Pray for the people of Israel and pray for the people of Ukraine because they're at war. Pray for the people of Iran because they've got to get free. Pray for the whole world. And pray for the president because he's got a very, very tough job.
Yes. Tough job to bring peace in this world. We need a calm era.
Yes.
And this is the moment we
to
understand that it's no time to joke around because the life of the people time is the most valuable asset. And this Mr. President Trump knows very well, right?
And pray for the Pope.
We pray for the Pope.
And for people of Italy and the people of the United States.
And all the illness in the world, right?
God bless America!
God bless America!
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply